All right. Hi, everybody. Hey. Hustler. Okay, so, you might see this little thing right here. I got a new microphone, so tell me if this sounds okay, if it sounds any different than it normally does, because I'm using my new iPad Pro. Well, it's not new, but I'm using my iPad Pro. Thank you. That is Zayd Wolf, Golden Age record, Golden Age album. Sounds clear? Great, thank you. I appreciate it. Yeah, I don't know where the settings are in Periscope to like make sure the microphone is actually the one that I want. So hopefully it's turning out okay. Because the last couple ones using the iPad Pro as opposed to my smaller iPad, the volume on the audio wasn't as clear, and I wanted to make sure that was clear. A few people had mentioned that to me, so I have a new microphone and it's pink. Look, it's freaking adorable. I mean, come on. Why wouldn't I want to use it? Thank you, Woodsy. Appreciate it. So, guys, what do you think? My new bling. It's not gaudy at all, right? And I got my new nails on. Yeah, that's right. Happy birthday to me. It's not for another week. I'm being facetious, but yeah, look at that. It is a replica, no, it's not real, of the MVP ring of my favorite blues player of all time, besides Craig Conroy, my boy, Ryan O'Reilly. So yeah, I got this for myself for my birthday, so I just felt like I had to, do one of these, It's hockey, I know, this is a football stream, but, hey, whatever. I love it. I'll take this off because it's super heavy. But guys, it's week 11. We might as well just get right into it, guys. Thursday night football reactions. So I'll talk about the fight at the end of the game in just a second, but I was recently on a podcast with What Are the Odds? A great follow, great podcast. You guys do yourself a favor and follow them. It's Wado. Hey, what's up, Chrismo? And it's just, I love them. They're super fun. And on that podcast, we were talking about, starts and sits and who we should go for. And yeah, Garrett for the win. Yeah, okay. Meh. But yeah, he's awesome. And I mentioned that Connor was hurt. James Conner was hurt. I said this to Scott. I told you not to start him. I started him anyway. And I started him over Damian Williams. Not a good play. So I started James Conner. I also had Juju Smith-Schuster in. It's not looking good. And I switched out my defensive player. I had TJ Watt in. I put in Minka Fitzpatrick, hoping that Baker Mayfield would do Baker Mayfield things, which he did not. So I'm going up against a guy who is literally projected for over 200 points in this league. And oof is right, J Money. Oof is right. Awful. Super terrible. But guys, at the end of the game, we all know this. If you you're gonna rage drop Juju. Don't rage drop Juju. He's not gonna perform the way we all expect Juju Smith-Schuster to perform. It's not his fault. It's Mason Rudolph. What can you do? I mean, I don't know. It's tough. Don't drop him. Keep him. Maybe he'll show up in the playoffs. I don't know. Just don't rage drop him. But I understand why you would want to. What's up, Brandon? So, yeah, the guys, at the end of the game, it was incredibly sad. Our Plune asked me that in just a quick second. Let me just get through this bit. It was really sad, guys. Mason Rudolph literally could have gotten seriously injured, if not killed, if he was hit in the temple. Myles Garrett is suspended indefinitely without pay. Pouncey is going to be suspended. They're all getting fined. Both the teams are getting fined. Football is a violent sport. I've never played it. So I've played a lot of sports. I am an athlete. I played soccer, basketball, volleyball, rode horses. I mean, I get it. I totally 100% get it that there is violence in this game. It was obviously completely uncalled for, completely unacceptable just because of the injuries that can go into it. But this is really sad. It's sad for a lot of reasons. Mason Rudolph, like I said, could have been seriously injured, but Myles Garrett's career is over. He's always going to have this hanging over his head. It's always going to be something that follows him, and he is a very mild-mannered. I mean, I don't know him personally, but just from what I've read and from other people who are on TV, the TV personalities that do know him, he's a very mild-mannered person, and this was out of character, and unfortunately, you can't undo it, and it sucks. It's sad. Didn't have to happen, and let's just hope we don't keep having these stupid-ass mistakes in this league, but unfortunately we're human, and we make human errors, so it is what it is. We're going to have to move on. Unfortunately, this does downgrade the Browns' defense special teams. Not that they were, like, super-duper amazing. They were starting to look better, but for fantasy purposes, that's what we're taking away from this. They never should have started James Conner. I don't have no idea why he was even active. It also sucks for Deontay Johnson. I believe he was bleeding out of his ear. Like, that's crazy. So, like, let's hope that he's okay. Let's hope that Juju Smith-Schuster's okay. And Mason Rudolph literally just came out from that crazy concussion that knocked him out for, like, 3 hours. I'm kidding. That's, loud. Or loud. What did I say loud? Really? It's exaggerating. That's what I meant. So that game was, it was hard to watch for a lot of reasons, and it was incredibly difficult. The outcome was tough. But Thursday night's game is behind us. Let's go ahead and move forward and look ahead. Maybe that'll make us all feel better, because how depressing is that, like, talking about that? Like, I like hockey, and hockey players fight all the time, but they don't, like, take their helmets and bash them against people's temples and garbage. Let's move on. So, guys, it's week 11. It is Friday afternoon, so it is Fireside Friday. For anyone who does not know who I am, if this is your first time joining me, my name is Lauren Carpenter. I am a writer for The Fantasy Footballers. You can find me on all social media up there at Stepmom Lauren. You can also find my work at stepmomlauren.com. I am a little behind in updating that, so I'm sorry about that. I'll get to it this weekend. It's been really busy. I had a loss of a furry-legged friend, family member this week, so I do appreciate you guys being very patient with me not going live on Wednesday. It was very difficult. My sweet little kitty cat was struck by a car very suddenly. It was incredibly sad. So I appreciate you guys being very patient with me, and thank you for all the love that I received on Twitter. It means a lot. It really helped me get through some pretty rough few days there, because I'm a huge animal lover, and I don't have any children of my own, like biological children. I have stepchildren, so like my stepkids and my pets are like the world to me. So it was pretty tough, and thank you guys, I appreciate it. But it is what it is. She was an old lady, a stray cat, so it was her time. So I'm just glad it was very quick and she didn't have to suffer. So anyway, wow, how depressing is this? Like, we're talking about fights and getting hit in the head with helmets and dead four-legged furry family members. Sorry, guys. Ooh, this is not starting off well. But let's make it better, guys. Week 11. Luckily, the apocalypse is done, so we don't have to worry about that. Next week is going to be interesting for you Patrick Mahomes owners. So work the waiver wire for some quarterbacks that you're going to need for next week, because Patrick Mahomes is going to be on a bye. Just heads up. So let's get into it, guys. Running back starts. Running backs this week, the best matchups are kind of self-explanatory. These are guys you're probably going to auto-start anyway. So this was a little difficult for me to really bring in information that you guys probably don't already know. But maybe it'll make you feel better if you're starting these guys, and maybe you're in an uphill battle because of last night's game. But Melvin Gordon is going against the 32nd worst defense against the run, which is Kansas City. After this new offensive coordinator has come into the picture, they have really structured their offense around Melvin Gordon. Unfortunately, this was really bad news for Phillip Rivers, who looked like a fish out of water when he played against Oakland, which was just disgusting. Gross. Hopefully he puts it together. My boss, Jason Moore, of the Fantasy Footballers, one of three, between he, Andy Holloway, and Mike Wright, he has to play Phillip Rivers, and he's really not happy about it. So for anyone who has to play Phillip Rivers, I'm very sorry. I think he'll bring it together and he'll do okay. This also should be a really good game for Keenan Allen. But this is going to be an auto start. Melvin Gordon, he should feast. Absolutely feast. If you guys have Austin Eckler and you have to play him, I don't like how the new offense is using Austin Eckler. He is a flex play, but a desperate one. I don't love it. But if you have to play him, you have to play him. There's really nothing you can do about it. Just hope he gets a little bit more involved in that passing game. But with Hunter Henry, Mike Williams, and Keenan Allen, it's going to be tough for Austin Eckler. But I'm not ready to bench him yet. I'm not at that point yet where I'm like done with Austin Eckler. I think he can surprise. So then Ezekiel Elliott, another auto start. No surprise there. I know he had a really difficult game against Minnesota because Minnesota was like 5th best against the run. They've allowed like I think they've allowed almost the least amount of rushing touchdowns to running backs. Oh, I'm sorry, Arploon, you're an Eckler owner. I know, but it was not a bad pickup and not a bad stash or start until we have this new offense going. So don't feel bad. It happens. It's fantasy football. And Zeke's going to be just fine. He didn't get, suddenly, it's not like he suddenly sucks just because he had a bad game. That was to be expected. Minnesota's Viking defense is incredibly stout against the run. So, it happens. It's, like I said, it's fantasy football. When you have a good defense against a really good running back, they're going to show up and play. So, expect him to do really well against Detroit, unfortunately. Sorry, honey, I love you. Like, if anyone doesn't know, he's a huge Lions fan. But Zeke should do pretty good against the 31st worst against the rush in Detroit. Another one which actually gives me a little bit of hope because I started James Conner. Josh Jacobs, who I also have in that same league, is going up against the Bengals. Guys, not only are the Bengals terrible against the run, the game script here should be just handing the ball to Josh Jacobs over and over and over and over again. So I'm hoping that he will make up the points that I did not get from James Conner. Fingers crossed. Let's hope that happens. Here's a little sneaky one too. If anyone doesn't know what's going on in Atlanta, Devonta Freeman is hurt. Ito Smith is on injured reserve. So if you haven't heard of him yet, I'm surprised. Brian Hill. He's going to get all of the carries. There is no one else to run the football, and they don't have a mobile quarterback. So Brian Hill is going to be a great start against Carolina, who is 29th worst against the run. It is going to be difficult to decide how to plug him in your lineup if you have other running backs. So that's what I'm here for. That's what other experts are there for, to help you set that lineup and just, make sure you get him in correctly, but not play him over other guys that may be a better start. But looks like he should be pretty good. And he has the athleticism. He has the trust of the coaches. So Brian Hill should have a pretty good game if you guys picked him up. What's up, bro, Cal? And then, Devin Singletary, Frank Gore. This is an interesting choice here, against Miami. I don't know if I like Singletary more than Gore. I think if you have one of the other ones and you don't have another running back to play, Gore has the opportunity against Miami. Miami sucks. Hey, what's up, Faith? Oh my God, I'm so glad you made it. Hi, girlfriend. Welcome into Fireside Friday. It is lovely to have you. By the way, Faith is the editor for Club Fantasy. My buddy Josh Hudson is, for no pun intended, with Club Fantasy. Also great follows. She's great. I love you, Faith. Thank you so much for joining me here. Le'Veon Bell, that's another one, guys. Volume is king here. 26th worst Washington Redskins. Le'Veon Bell should have a good game. And again, volume. That's kind of a no-brainer here. So these really aren't a surprise. Okay, so now let's get into the wide receivers, which gets a little bit more interesting. So this one's obvious. This is going to be a huge Drew Brees bounce back game after his lackluster performance last week. There's missing people, missing secondary pieces that Tampa Bay it does not have. And honestly, this is going to be a Drew Brees bounce back. He's going to feast. Michael Thomas is going to be one of the head guys that's going to be getting all those targets because he does anyway. So Michael Thomas auto start. Don't even worry about it. The other one, which is interesting, is Terry McLaurin. I have him in many leagues. I like him. I love his talent. Bro, Cal, volume is king. The reason you gave Godwin to get Carson yesterday, no, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I do like that. Volume is king. I just hope he doesn't fumble. That's the only thing. So Terry McLaurin is a risky start, only because of Dwayne Haskins. That is going to be pretty tough. I think they're going to be relying on the run between Adrian Peterson and Darius Geis, but they are going to have to throw. And if they're going to throw it, I'm pretty sure Terry McLaurin's going to be the target. It is risky. I'm still starting him because he is the best pass catcher on that team. So let's just hope that Dwayne Haskins has a good game for all you Terry McLaurin owners who are going up against an uphill battle. That's me. That's me, guys. And I really hope he does well. Lots of finger crossing this weekend. Okay, another interesting one here too. Marquise Brown. So the Ravens are going up against the 30th worst Houston Texans when it comes to the wide receiver position. If you're a Marquise Brown owner, you've probably been up and down on like, oh my God, I hate him. Oh, I love him. Oh, I hate him. I think this is going to be a good game for him. Remember, he's that downfield threat. I do think Lamar Jackson is going to be targeting him here. So if you do have Marquise Brown and you do not have better matchups or higher projected points that you need to put in there, I think Marquise Brown is a good start. I do like him in this matchup I think he's gonna bounce back. So Jay Money is playing Hollywood Brown. Awesome, well done. I believe my husband is as well. It's on his team. The next one here, another risky sleeper start is going to be Cortland Sutton. Guys, there is a new quarterback in here. It's young. We don't really know, but they're going up against the 29th worst against wide receivers in Minnesota. So whereas Royce Freeman and Philip Lindsay are going to have an uphill battle against one of the better run defenses in the league, they're not very good at the wide receiver position, and Cortland Sutton is going to be targeted early, and he's going to be targeted often. So if you're in a PPR league, this especially is going to be pretty dang good for y'all. So I do like Cortland Sutton in this. Just temper your expectations. But he should have a pretty good game for you, simply because there's no one else there to catch the football. I mean, I don't know. Is there anyone else there? I don't know. After Manny Sanders left, it's kind of like, I don't know. I don't love it. I don't love it. It's risky, but if you've got him, I would fire him up. And then I love DJ Moore, and I love Curtis Samuel this weekend as well, going up against Atlanta. I think it's going to be a shootout. So, BroCal, thoughts on D.D. Westbrook with Foles back? I love D.D. Westbrook. I have a waiver claim on him because he's shockingly available in one of my leagues. I love him. This is going to be difficult against the Indianapolis Colts. I do expect a little bit of rust from Nick Foles, but D.D. Westbrook is Nick Foles' security blanket. So, if you have D.D. Westbrook, I do not hate starting him, especially in PPR. I mean, he can literally get 12 catches and he gives you an automatic 12 points just starting off. I like it. It is risky. I will not lie to you there. It is risky to start them. We just don't know what's going to happen. I also do like DJ Chark, also risky, because we just don't know what Nick Foles is going to do. We don't know what he's capable of, and Indianapolis' defense doesn't suck. They're not like super duper awesome right now, but they also don't suck. So it could be a nail biter, and it could be like, Mylanta or Pepto-Bismol worthy. But I do like D.D. Westbrook. Like I said, if I get him, I'm going to start him. So, and then would you start Nick Foles? Yes, but I would not bench a better quarterback for Nick Foles. So just be conscious of who it is that you're starting. FFLT Park. I think I got it. Let me know who your other quarterbacks are and whether or not you should start Nick Foles over them. My husband picked up Nick Foles, and he is starting him as well. So I'm not gonna, like I said, it's gonna be risky. We just don't know. There's a lot of question marks that are floating around there. So love DJ Moore, love Curtis Samuel against Atlanta. They bleed fantasy points to wide receivers. Auden Tate is another interesting one. Speaking of, backup quarterbacks that are coming in, Ryan Finley is in for Cincinnati. Tyler Boyd, banged up, probably going to get most of the coverage if he plays. So Auden Tate is a sneaky start here. Again, risky. There's a lot of risky choices you have to make at wide receiver this week, and I hate it. So Sam Darnold is your other option. I don't hate that. I really don't hate that. They're playing Washington. Hold on. Let me look at something here real quick. So one of the things, guys, I like to do, if you don't know this already, if you're new, I always look at the fantasy points against. You can literally just Google that, and it'll tell you what teams are strong or weak against certain positions. So, Faith, you said you have Montgomery and Tevin Coleman on the same team with Adrian Peterson on the bench. Should you? Do I risk it as is? David Montgomery scares me because of his status. I believe he's banged up. He has a big, fat, ugly red Q, which we all hate by his name. I do like Tevin Coleman. He's an auto start for me. Keep in Tevin Coleman. Keep your eye on David Montgomery. If something happens where he can't play, then I would fire up Adrian Peterson simply because it's Dwayne Haskins and he's going to need somebody to run the ball. I also picked up Darius Geis in another league, which I am starting as well, if that helps you at all, Faith. Darnold versus Washington. Okay, let me just take a look at something here real quick, guys. Thank you so much for being patient with me. And whenever I'm on here and I search the same search term, it never comes up with the same crap as it normally did before. Okay, so I'm looking up on the NFL Network fantasy points against, and Washington Redskins are ranked 16th worst, or best, whichever way you want to look at it, against the quarterback position. They have allowed almost 2,200 yards and 8 passing touchdowns. 2 quarterbacks, 1 rushing. We don't really care about that with Darnold. 206 receptions on 284 completions, which is pretty high. Not super duper high, but it's middling. It's right there. So I don't know. I don't know if I hate starting Sam Darnold. I mean, it's going to depend on how your league scores, of course. So the other question here was Nick Foles. Let's take a look at Indianapolis, where they fall on here. So Indianapolis is 13th, best or worst, whichever way you want to look at it. They have only allowed 6 passing touchdowns, 2 quarterbacks. Again, almost 2,200 yards, 206 completions on 300 receptions. So looks like you might be splitting hairs here. I would go with whoever has the highest projections, or 6 point per quarterback scoring. Okay, go with your gut on that one, because that's kind of a toss up for me. There's nothing out here that jumps out that says one or the other. What do you guys think? Why don't you help him out and see what you guys think on who he should start with that too? Because that's what we're here for. We're like a nice community. All right. Wide receiver starts. We're going back here. I already said DJ Moore, Curtis Samuel, Auden Tate. Risky, but hey, you might be desperate. Tight end starts. Okay, this is interesting again. So Ross Dwelly. Kittle is not going to play. Sucks. Oh God, and I don't know about Emmanuel Sanders either, but I'm afraid to start him considering everyone coming back early from an injury they should be out on, but they're active anyway, is not done well. I'm really scared to start Emmanuel Sanders, and I need to. I need him badly, but now I'm scared to. Anyway, not the point. We're not talking about wide receivers, talking about tight ends. Ross Dwelly, I know he wasn't super involved when George Kittle was out last week, but they are going up against the worst against the tight end position. And when I mean the worst, I mean like the worst of the worst. So let me just go over here to my fantasy points against here and give you some kind of an idea. So, Arizona has allowed 10 receiving touchdowns to the tight end position. The next worst is Tampa Bay, and they have only allowed 6. That gives you some idea. They are targeted in the red zone. We're talking almost 200 yards more than Tampa Bay, Arizona has allowed, as well as 10 more completions. I mean, so Arizona, you don't get worse than Arizona at tight end. So if you guys are really desperate and you need to get a tight end off the waiver wire and Ross Dwelly is available, you could do worse. So, but just hope he gets involved. Really, really hope he gets involved. That's going to be king. But tight end position is a dumpster fire, so, yeah. All right, another one that I really like is Jared Cook against the 30 worst Tampa Bay. So like I was just saying, 31st worst Tampa Bay, excuse me. They've allowed 6 touchdowns, and Drew Brees is not afraid to target Jared Cook. So that's a really good one for me. I think there's going to be a lot of passing in that game. It could be a trap game, but because there are so many pieces missing in the secondary for both teams, I think this is going to be, and New Orleans defense is pretty stout against running backs. I don't know what Tampa Bay's like. I could look right now, but I'm kind of lazy, so I won't. It's going to be throwing a lot, so I like Jared Cook. TJ Hawkinson, Waller or Andrews? Angie, that's a good one. That's a very difficult position to be in because they are both very good. Mark Andrews is always an auto start for me, so if I had your position, I would start Mark Andrews. However, I do think this is going to be a pretty good bounce back game for Darren Waller. That does not help you in the slightest. And also let me know if you're talking standard or PPR too. That would be a good one. So, yeah. All right, so J Money says Waller. And then Ray Nat, excuse me. David Montgomery or Christian Kirk have PPR flex. David Montgomery's beat up and Christian Kirk has a friggin' terrible matchup. If David Montgomery is good to go, I kind of want to lean him, but you might have to play Christian Kirk, which stinks. PPR, all right. I think I might go with Waller, but by a hair though. By a hair, Waller over Andrews, because they're both incredibly good. So you're not going to make a bad decision either way. You may feel like you did if one of them does better on your bench than the other, but that's a good problem to have. You have an embarrassment of riches, so well done on getting your team looking very nice at tight end, because those are 2 really good tight ends that I bet you a lot of people wish they had that problem. All right, so TJ Hawkinson, Detroit tight end against Dallas. I don't love this because it's going to be Jeff Driscoll throwing the ball, but he could be a security blanket, so that's always something to keep in mind. Here's a sneaky sleeper, guys. Tyler Eifert. I love Tyler Eifert we're talking about a backup quarterback here, security blanket opportunity against the 29th worst against tight end in Oakland, and Tyler Eifert is incredibly talented. I love him. Okay, so your running backs are Zeke, Aaron Jones, Phillip Lindsay, and Todd Gurley. And did you want 1 or 2 to start? Definitely start Zeke. And Aaron Jones is on a bye, so I don't think you need to worry about that. I would go Zeke and Todd Gurley. If you wanted to. I have no idea what you were asking. I just made that up like I knew what I was doing. So, yeah, there's that. Okay, for the Rams, Gerald Everett. I love him. Going up against 28th worst Chicago. So, if you have Gerald Everett, feel good about firing him up unless you have, someone like Travis Kelce or those other big names that are above him in rankings. Always check rankings, guys. FantasyFootballers.com. I'm sorry, TheFantasyFootballers.com has their rankings. Fantasy Pros, NFL Network. Just Google it, search it. Make your choices there, too. Rankings are super, super helpful to make these start-sit decisions for you. Hunter Henry, he's an auto start for me, too. He is going up against the 26th worst Kansas City Chiefs, and Phillip Rivers likes his tight end. So let's hope Phillip Rivers becomes more like Phillip Rivers and doesn't look like a scared deer in the headlights and overthrowing people by 10 feet. That'd be really nice. All right, guys, some sleepers here. At quarterback, I like Derek Carr going up against the 30th worst Cincinnati Bengals. So expect him to put up at least 2 touchdowns. I would definitely think that's in the realm of possibility. Game script will lean towards this being a Josh Jacobs game, like I mentioned before, but that does not mean that Derek Carr still can't have a good game and get you some much-needed fantasy points. I think this is kind of a lock for me. If you guys are streaming quarterbacks and he's available, I would say plug him in. I like it. So, Mark... St. Nick. Hey, Merry Christmas. Kelce at tight end, Waller or Curtis Samuel at flex in Standard League. Wow, that's tough. I like both of those, but if you wanted to be spicy and go for some upside, I would go Waller for that upside. If you wanted to play it safe, I would go Curtis Samuel. But do expect DJ Moore to get a majority of the looks over Curtis Samuel, but he will be involved, if that helps you. All right. Sleepers. Kyle Allen, another quarterback sleeper. Good to go. Against Atlanta, like I said, there's going to be a lot of throwing around here. Brian Hill, already mentioned him, running back for the Falcons. There's literally no one else to run the ball. Cortland Sutton, like we talked about. Ross Dwelly, like we talked about. And this is a super deep sleeper. Andy Holloway from the Fantasy Footballers loves this guy. He actually thinks that Russell... I said tight end here. It's not tight end. I totally messed that up. It's wide receiver. Wide receiver Russell Gage. My bad. I wasn't paying attention when I was typing this out. Sorry. Wide receiver Russell Gage. Super deep sleeper, and Andy Holloway from the Fantasy Footballers does believe that he is going to be more involved than Calvin Ridley. So there you go. If you guys need someone at wide receiver and that waiver wire looks bare, if this guy's available, he's a little sneaky start there. I like it. At running back, J.D. McKissick. I don't love this because I don't love the Lions run game. Sorry, honey. I love you. I don't love your team. I do love your team. I just don't like how they never win. So if you're desperate again, guys, J.D. McKissick is a possibility. I don't like it. But if you have to and there's no one else available, this is an option because there is so few people to run the ball for the Lions. It stinks, but they're going up against the 23rd worst Dallas, so this is one that I want to put up here for you guys as a possibility, but it's not one that I really love. Randall Cobb, love him. He's getting so much more involved. He's getting those targets. I like him. Again, going up against Detroit. I'm like picking on the Lions today. Sorry about that. And then this guy I actually really like, shockingly, Devontae Parker. So this matchup on paper looks terrible against Buffalo, but the last time Devontae Parker played Buffalo this year, he scored a touchdown. Was it 2 touchdowns? I know it was definitely 1 touchdown. He did very well against Buffalo. So if you have Devontae Parker, I don't hate this start. So it does not look good on paper, but I think he is a sneaky sleeper for you that I would play him if I had him. So that's all I have for my slides, guys. Thank you. And for everyone here, if you have marked any comments that I would not want to see as abusive and I didn't have to see them, thank you very much. I always appreciate you guys having my back. But I mostly appreciate you guys coming here and visiting with me and chatting and asking questions. If I missed your questions from earlier, please ask them again so that I can answer them for you. And let's see. I'd have to scroll like way up here to find those. 2 new messages. Yay. Okay, so Chris Molina. For your wide receiver 2, do you start Mike Williams or Hollywood Brown or Deebo Samuel? Man, I like all 3 of those, Chris. Okay, if Emmanuel Sanders does not play, go Deebo Samuel. I like him a lot, especially if you're in a PPR. I like Deebo because George Kittle is also out. So if I had to rank these guys, I would say Deebo Samuel, Mike Williams, Hollywood Brown. Hollywood is going to be that deep threat for Lamar Jackson. Could be a boomer bust. He has a better opportunity in this matchup than he does others. Mike Williams is going to have to share the field with Keenan Allen and Hunter Henry. So that's why I put him second. But Deebo Samuel, especially if Emmanuel Sanders is inactive or if he is active and gets hurt again, they've already shown that he will be targeted by Jimmy Garoppolo. So keep an eye on Emmanuel Sanders' status. I want to say Deebo Samuel here. What do you guys think he should do? I think for safety, Mike Williams. Upside, Hollywood Brown. If Emmanuel Sanders doesn't play, Deebo. That's tough. That's a really, really hard question, Chris. But excellent lineup, by the way. And J Money doesn't trust Mike Williams. I know, I don't either. I know I said for safety, but I don't know. He's so hit or miss for me. I have him in several leagues, too. It's such a bummer. Why can't this be easy? They wouldn't be fun if it were easy, so, whatever. So, Brian Hill or Damian Williams? That's an excellent question. I would go Damian Williams by a hair. By a hair. Both good options, though. I do like Damian Williams just a hair more. And let's see. Bro Cal, can you play a quarterback in a Superflex Standard League? Would you play Kyler Murray or Melvin Gordon? I would play, but it depends on how your league scores. If you guys score your quarterbacks a lot higher, it's a no-brainer. Go Kyler Murray, but Melvin Gordon should have a great game. So that's a tough one. I don't really like Kyler Murray's matchup very well but I guess in a super flex it's okay. But if it's like 6 points for passing touchdowns, then I would say Kyler Murray hands down. If it's, just kind of a standard league, then maybe think about Melvin Gordon. Check out their game logs and compare what Kyler Murray's ceiling could possibly be with Melvin Gordon's ceiling. Okay, so 4 points, QB touchdown. I don't know. I would lean Melvin Gordon here. I don't like that at all. All right, hang on. So don't forget, because Kyler Murray, he's playing against San Francisco. And San Francisco has the second best defense against quarterbacks. So that scares me. So if you want to be safe, I would put Melvin Gordon in there. And then Chris, one more. Geis or Deebo in the flex in another league, PPR. Another hard one. Shoot. You know what? I'm going to Google that one. You always give me those hard ones, Chris Mo. I'm going to take a look at that right now and then let you all know. And then CT Burke, how are you? How are you doing, dear? Marlon Mack, Joe Mixon, or Devin Singletary for your flex. I would go Joe Mixon here on volume, even though I want to throw up in my mouth saying that. Sorry, honey. I know that's like one of the last things you want to hear me say, but I hate Joe Mixon. But in terms of fantasy football, he's going to get the volume. As we all know, volume is king. So, Jeremy, he says Deebo instead of Darius Geis, Chris, if that helps. Eric, you need a kicker this week. You feel comfortable dropping Daniel Jones. Got a loaded bench. I don't know. How good's your quarterbacks? I don't know. I stream my kickers, so I drop a kicker for a kicker. I feel very weird dropping a quarterback for a kicker. So that's up to you. That's a totally you call. Okay, so in standard, Fantasy Pros says to go Deebo Samuel. Let's see what they say in PPR. Probably going to be the same thing. It's going to be Deebo Samuel. So there you go. There you go, Chris. Deebo over Darius Geis. And yeah, especially if Emmanuel Sanders doesn't play. I think he's still going to have some good volume anyway because Kittle's out. So you got some good lineups there. And you're welcome, Chris. And you're just streaming. I get it. I would drop your kicker for the other kicker. Unless you already dropped your kicker to pick up like a wide receiver or something. Is that how that went? Not quite sure. But yeah, if you're really stacked at quarterback, drop Daniel Jones. I mean, I don't know who you have, so. And then you don't have a kicker now. I mean, I would assume that. So you have an empty kicker spot. Okay, I guess. So if you're stacked at quarterback, drop Daniel Jones. If you have a wide receiver that you're never going to start, drop them. I mean, that's the thing. I stream kickers too. I don't overthink it. Because then you start getting into like mind meld territory with that. No bueno. And then you just have Kyle Allen. Then no, I would not drop Daniel Jones if you only have Kyle Allen. Guys, this is a PSA I will give you guys. Take it or leave it. Obviously, I'm not telling you what to do, but if you are in a one quarterback league, we are getting close to the playoffs. Obviously, I'm not saying anything that you guys don't already know. But this is like stash time when people are, handcuffing their running backs. They're, stashing other people's handcuffs. And the last thing you want is to have your only starting quarterback get hurt. And then you have to go scour the waiver wire for the slim, ugly pickings of having to stream quarterbacks and hope that they're the only ones left that have a good matchup. So take a look at Daniel Jones' schedule, see what his matchup looks like, see what Kyle Allen's matchups look like. This week it's very good for Kyle Allen. I don't know. Why don't you do me a favor, tweet me your lineup. Tweet me your lineup at Stepmom Lauren, and I will take a look at it and let you know if that's a smart move. I would not do that, but I play a little bit more conservative when it comes to my quarterbacks, if that helps you at all. So, do we have any other questions that I missed here? And hi, Bob. Oh, my girls, Kate and Michelle. How are you, my dears? I love them. They're great. Another awesome follow, guys. Ball Blast them, FF Ball Blast, or Ball Blast. Kate and Michelle Magic. They are absolutely fantastic. Download their podcast. They're wonderful. They're funny. They're hilarious. Hopefully, I'll be on their podcast here pretty soon again. Always love being a guest with them. They are so much fun. We are like 3 peas in a pod. We drink a lot and we laugh a lot, and it's a ton of fun. All right, guys. I'm going to see if I can scroll through here real quick. If I missed any. If I did miss any of your questions, guys, do not hesitate to hit me up at Stepmom Lauren. I totally love answering your questions. If I don't think I'm comfortable answering them, I will always retweet it and ask for help from the fantasy community. You'll never bugging me unless you send something really pervy and gross, which has happened. Then I'll just block you, so then I don't really care. But yeah, send me your questions. Let me know. If anyone's going to the game, please send me a picture. I love seeing that. If not, enjoy the rest of your weekend. Enjoy your Friday. Good luck this weekend, guys. Again, hit me up. Stepmom Lauren Twitter. I'm faster on Twitter than I am on Facebook, but I am there. Facebook.com/StepmomLauren. And you can find my work at StepmomLauren.com. So enjoy your weekend, guys. Stay safe. And I will see all of you Wednesday for Wind Up Wednesday.